Hey everybody, Reynald here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about my resume. Resume, you say? Oh snap! Exciting topic! Hey, it is going to be exciting if you get a job because of the resume, right? In this video, I'm going to be specifically talking about the structure of my resume that's been working for me for so many years that I hardly ever had to change it, and I really haven't ever seen any resume that I thought that had a better structure. So that's what I'm going to be talking about, and I'll be explaining why. Now, it's going to be one of two videos on this topic because the next video I'm going to be doing is going to be covering the different jobs that I had and the high points and the low points, the lessons learned in my career as a software developer, things I wish I knew before I even got started. I'd still become a developer, but I wish I knew to be more prepared for some drama and for opportunities that could have came up that I wouldn't have known about or how to handle, yada, 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 whatever. That's going to be in part two. But we're first going to talk about the structure, okay? So let me know what you think in your comments. If you have any pointers or any other resume format that worked for you at the end of the video. And that should be it. For now, go ahead and enjoy. And don't forget, if you found value in this video, hit that like button and also click that subscribe button and notification bell if you want to get more videos like this. Now at the top, as you can see, I just have full stack software engineer and instructor. Some people like to put statements up there, passionate engineer that wants to eventually become an architect or whatever. I just get straight to the point, exactly the type of role that I'm looking for, and keep the objective simple. So I could be either a full stack engineer and or an instructor, which is what I'm involved in these days. But I love the idea of being part of the education space, and that's what I do now, and that's why I have so many courses out on some platforms. Now right below that are my tech skills that I like grouped in a few categories: design patterns, specialties, user interface and miscellaneous tools, operating systems, and data. So design patterns are something really you should be using no matter what language that you're coding in. And I like to put down the ones that I'm most familiar with and can speak to at a very deep level. And this really should apply to anything that you put on your resume, because that's the reason why you have a resume, so people could question you about your experience and you can talk to it. Don't make the mistake of just putting certain things down that you've only done for a few days or a week in some short tutorial and then get stuck when you get questioned deeply about it. So there's 23 actually very popular design patterns that are categorized under Gang of Four, a group of engineers called the Gang of Four. And I actually did a video about that. You could check that out. But besides those, there's also other design patterns. And this is just like a mixture of a few that I've been very familiar with. So a few of them are from the Gang of Four. Some others are conventional design patterns. Now for specialties, and I called it specialties because I didn't want to just say languages. As you can see, I have some languages such as Java and C#, but there's also frameworks like Angular and other technologies that you can use in conjunction with your language like LINQ. So I put it down as specialties. That is technology that falls under the category of either languages or works with languages. And so in my mind, that includes JavaScript libraries too, but also protocols like SOAP. So specialties is just a general term, and I find that it just makes it easy for me to put that down there, and I don't have to have like too many categories. Below that, I have GUI and miscellaneous tools. This is where I usually put my IDEs and other tools that work with them, such as plugins, or maybe some special software to do UML diagrams such as Balsamiq, as you see here. And below that, I have operating systems and platforms, and that's where I would put something like the .NET Framework, .NET Core, As you can see, my resume is a little bit dated when I mentioned things like DOS. I left that there. I should remove that, but it doesn't hurt. So I left it there for memory's sake. I'm a little bit nostalgic like that. And you still do use DOS sometimes. Sometimes you go to the terminal. That's essentially what it is, right? So anyway, I left that there. And right below, you could see the last category that I have is data. And that's where I would put object relational mappers such as Entity Framework or database applications like SQL Server or MySQL. Now, the reason that I love having this tech skills right up front is because right away, people could just see if you have some of the core skills that they are looking for. And I'm sure recruiters appreciate it, but also anyone that's working in HR so that they could kind of get a lot of information at a glance. And I'm pretty sure this is useful for them when they're doing their query searches also. I don't know exactly what type of tools that they use, but I know that they use some type of query tools to filter out resumes, basically searching for particular keywords so that they can just get a collection of resumes with engineers that have a lot of Java experience, for example. Now, in the tech skills, I like my educational background, so I put that there. Now, I know that there's sometimes a convention that people follow where they put education at the very bottom if they have a lot of work experience. Now, I have a lot of work experience, but I like the fact that I went to Northwestern. I liked my experience there. I think it looks good. I also like the fact that I did well at the community college before I transferred to Northwestern and was on the dean's list there and was an honor student studying business administration and was part of the Phi Theta Kappa Society. So I'm like, whatever. I like to put that there. I'm a big fan of education, so I left it up there. I mean, who's going to knock me for putting education first, right? It's like, well, we're not going to take this resume seriously because I saw his education first. Clearly, if he has all this experience, I want to see experience. No one's going to say that, all right? So I left it up there. Now, I have my year. I'm just thinking about it right now. I've always left the years here, which kind of gives you an idea of what my age is. But I'm not worried about that with technology. I don't really feel there's that much. I haven't encountered any age discrimination, so I'm not too worried about that. But I suppose it might be fine to leave that off also if you're concerned about that. I don't think it's a big deal, though. And now for experience. I have a certain structure that I love that I followed, and I should mention, shout out to a good old friend of mine called Puru, a college buddy, really smart guy. He ended up being a software engineer earlier on in his career while he was in school. He started doing tech support, went on to become a programmer. That's actually the track that I followed also, and then ended up starting his own company and consulting firms. But he was the first one that kind of told me about this resume structure, and I followed it for many years, and it's been great. But if you look at my experience here, what I like to do is put the company name down and then the title that I had at the company, or essentially the work. If they didn't give you an official title, if you put down software engineer, that should be fine. I love the term software engineer rather than just programmer. It just sounds much more sophisticated. It sounds something that you look up to, that you aspire to. Programmer just sounds like some dude in a basement trying to hack some code together. It just was never that elegant of a word for me, but whatever, no big deal. To the left, obviously, I have the date for which I was at that position or I'm doing that type of work. Now, the type of work that I'm doing right now, I'm an independent contractor that produces online courses among some other work. So there's several companies that I could provide my work to. So in this case, I put down LinkedIn Learning, lynda.com, PacT. They're all actually LinkedIn Learning and lynda.com. They're the same company, but PacT and lynda.com. Those are two separate education companies that you could find courses on. So I just put them all down. There's no need to duplicate the companies that I work for, especially when it's the same role. So I write down in bullet points the type of work that I do. I try to be very specific and write down things that I can really speak to. If I'm a producer of the course and I'm actually recording it myself, I wanted to put that down, so I jotted that down. And then I put down a series of examples of courses that I wrote. Now, below this, I wrote down skills used. So it's nice for a recruiter, job hunter to be able to see immediately the type of skills that's used for that job that you had. So I have skills used, and I also did the same thing for platform. So at Logix Federal Credit Union, I wrote down 3 bullet points of the type of work that I did. And then I also had the skills used and the platform. Now, something that I like to do is indicate where I was involved from the project from the beginning to the end. So that's where you see this little star that says indicates that I was present for the full life cycle development. So for certain jobs, you'll see that I might have an asterisk there. So let's see if we scroll down. These are all the different companies that I work for right here. The client was the US government when I was working for Accenture, so I was there from the very beginning to the end. So this is it. These are different companies that I've worked for and the way that I structured my resume. As I get towards the bottom, I don't get too specific with the months. I just put down the years. And there's other jobs that I've actually had also, but I didn't put it down if it was under a year because my resume is already 3 pages long, and I think that's enough. It doesn't need to be longer than that. 2 pages really suffices, and 1 page is also fine. 3 pages is really at the max that you want to be, but there's so much good stuff that I did not want to leave out, so I was fine leaving my resume at 3 pages. All right. So hope you found this useful, and if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more videos like this. As I mentioned, this was part 1 of 2 videos that I wanted to do related to resumes. The next one is going to be going in depth with the roles that I had, the lessons that I learned, the good days and the bad days, really just the main highlights that I really think is valuable to know, especially if you're just getting into software development. So look out for that lessons learned video coming up soon, and that is it, and I'll see you at the next video.